Hey guys, so today we have a one topic video because something big is happening and I feel like this is the start of Dramageddon 5552. So let's just get into it before I forget what I want to say. I have notes, I'm prepared, I've got it all figured out. So before we get into the video, here's my Instagram, TikTok, Poppy's Instagram. Subscribe, hit that bell, and comment and like for engagement because that helps to push my videos out. So do it, or you stink. That's a threat. So let's start with kind of like going back. It's a bit of a recap. So By Sister happened, right? When Tati accused James of inappropriately talking to people, whether his own age or below the age group. We had like the main guy, Gage, going behind all of this, the waitress in Seattle, and then we had a few things. I feel like since then we've had like 3 or 4 of those kind of allegations being made. I'm not going to say any names, I'm not going to say specifics, because I feel like those guys are, you know, below the age of 18. I don't want to put them on blast in a YouTube video. So I'm not going to say any names, I'm not going to say any specifics, but there were a few guys. So the first guy filmed a video on YouTube and it was quickly taken down because I don't know, like maybe James reached out to him, I don't know. But the video was taken down and he, I believe, was about 16. They're all around that age group. That blew over pretty much without any noise. No one really spoke about it because it kind of got shut down very quickly. I remember I saw it and I was like, oh, some things are not sticking together. You know how, because I feel like James, since By Sister and since kind of like having the tide turn, doing a 180 twist, I feel like he's kind of untouchable. He's uncancelable. There is not a single accusation that could take this man down because it's just like once people made a mistake once, they don't want to make that mistake again. So people just don't want to believe anyone, which I do understand because I feel like sometimes there's just not enough proof, you know, to do that, to accuse him again and to see him go through all that stuff again. But sometimes we have to look at both sides of the things. We can't just be biased towards one side. I like James's content, but at the same time, it's like, you have to take into consideration every side. So I'm gonna, you know, do that. And then there was another guy, which is this guy. I think there was a guy in between as well. Am I forgetting guys? There's a guy in between, there's this guy. And then since this guy came out, another guy came out who is 17. So I'm gonna talk about the last 2. There were a lot in between, but I'm gonna talk about the last 2. So every time I didn't know their age. I didn't check, I didn't ask, or I asked and they told me a lie, but I didn't like verify it, yada yada yada, okay? I feel bad for what happened during By Sister, I sure do. But sometimes when life throws lemons at you, you have to make lemonade. He did make lemonade. He managed to, you know, reinvent himself, managed to get his integrity back, managed to get his fans back, managed to grow, you know, pretty much like almost double the size that he was when he started losing subs. I think he was at about 15 million. He's at 25 now. He's almost doubling where he was at before By Sister. He definitely made lemonades out of the lemons that he was handed. Well, that were thrown at him. But you also have to learn a lesson every time this lemon's being thrown at you. As much as I don't think it's fair that he has to go through that, when you're famous and when you're the size of James Charles, there are certain precautions that you have to take when you get into romantic relationships or any other relationships with people, aka verifying ages. I think if I was him and I found myself in a By Sister scandal, the first thing I would do when I'm talking to someone is ask them for ID. But actually, hear me out. If I have to ask someone for ID, they're too young. If I am even doubting myself, questioning if they are over the age of 18, they're too young for me. If you look 16, even if you're 18, even if you're 25, you're too young for me. It makes me uncomfortable. And that is my opinion. Personally, me, if I'm questioning someone's age, it means I shouldn't be with them because I'm almost 21. Like, I shouldn't be doubting if you're 18, aka 3 years younger than me. Like, at that point, I'm like, I'll pass. Because I'm not even sure if you're 3 years younger than me. And you could be 5 years younger than me. And that just makes me feel all kinds of icky. I don't want that. I'm fine with it. So if I have to question your age, but if you're talking to someone, the first thing as James Charles that you should be doing is asking them for proof of ID. Like, hey, I know we're getting into it, but before we get into it, can you send me proof of ID? And if they send you a fake ID, because I've seen that argument before, you did your due diligence. You did everything you could to ensure that you are not finding yourself in illegal situations. At that point, we can all collectively agree that you did your absolute best. But if you're just trusting their word every single time after time after time, you're just trusting their word, and time after time after time, there are TikToks and YouTube videos and tweets coming out accusing you of talking to minors, I think at that point, ask for ID, ask for proof of age, or don't talk to them. I've seen the, I'm like angry, but I'm also not angry. I just feel like I'm irritated because I feel like this is a continuous issue. If another YouTuber had this many allegations, at some point we would have to look at it and go, how? How? I don't think I've seen another YouTuber have this many allegations while also being innocent, if that makes sense. Like, we've never seen someone have allegation after allegation after allegation and still say that they are innocent. So I feel like we're giving James the benefit of the doubt, like the biggest benefit of the doubt. So the least that he can do is do a double check on the age. Just do a double check. Just, hey, could you send me ID? Could you send me your passport? And then I saw another argument, which was, why doesn't he just date celebrities that he knows are of age? Why doesn't he date people in his industry? Why doesn't he date people who are maybe not in his industry, but are quite clearly adults, like out of uni, with degrees, with jobs? Like, why doesn't he date people who are not young and without a job? Like, there is quite clearly not a power imbalance, but like, you're multi-millionaire famous James Charles. Why do you keep on going for these guys that are just like some random guy in high school in like Arizona or something? Like, why don't you go for people in your own industry? Because that makes everything so much easier for you. It's just tips from Angelika to James. Why don't you go for people in your industry? Because then you won't have to question their damn age. Because you'll know. Because these people have to verify their ages to be on YouTube and on TikTok and stuff. At this point, I feel like he could date an actor, he could date a singer, he could date a YouTuber, he could date a TikToker, he could date an accountant, a lawyer, anyone who, like, you look at them and they are visibly of age. And you're saying you're going for these unknown boys who you can't verify, who are in different states. It's just like, why? And also, I am never ever going to shame someone for sending pictures of any kind to anyone and that privacy being violated. I think it's disgusting. But at the same time, please don't send pictures, intimate pictures that you don't want leaking to people that you don't know, people that you've never met before. Like someone, you know, he's literally sending these pictures after talking to them for 10 minutes. It's like, please, you're famous. These things are going to leak. And if you don't mind them leaking, perfectly fine, you do you. But if you do mind them leaking, then sending them to people you don't know and you don't know if you can trust them and you don't know what their ulterior motive is like, you know, it's just a recipe for disaster, because these people are going to release these images and they have been releasing these images. Being a little bit harsh in this video because I just feel like we've given him the benefit of the doubt and none of us are saying, well, some people are saying that he's very guilty. I'm stuck in the middle because I'm just like, he's just not being cautious enough for me. I just feel like when you're famous, there are some things you have to do. And it starts to get really irritating to see him do it time and time again. Why haven't you asked for an age last time you were accused, or the time before that, or the time before that? It's like you should have learnt at some point to verify these people so that you know what kind of a motive they have in this whole situation. Since the guy that we're talking about came out, there was another guy who's 17 that said he also had uncomfortable situations with James in messages, and this all just, it's like, these people have screenshots, these people have pictures that they took off the Snapchat, like if that makes sense, like them opening the Snapchat. So it's like, yeah, they could be having an ulterior motive, but you're still in the wrong for not checking their age, right? It's like, yeah, they have an ulterior motive of, I don't know, trying to like, you know, show your pictures on the internet or whatever it is. But at the same time, you are still, it doesn't take away from the fact that you're in the wrong for not checking their age. There are literally dating apps for celebrities. Like, you have to be over the age of 18 to sign up for these apps, and it's just celebrities. Like, you could easily use these apps. Tana Mojo uses those apps. And she's never in one of these scandals. And she's been in every single other scandal that you could possibly think of, but not this one. It's just like, you know, take some advice from Tana. To me, the guys always look really young. So if I, as James, saw them, my first thought would be, I need to check their age because they look like they could be on the verge. But like I said a few minutes ago, when someone looks on the verge to me, they're too young for me. I'm going to look like your older sister, and that's just going to make me uncomfortable. So we don't want that. You know? Then we have Trisha Paytas, who did a lot of tweets, basically called him a She also brought up the situation with Sia, kind of comparing him to Sia, and the situation with Maddie Ziegler, who, I mean, you can read up on that situation, it's also quite concerning. And she compared that to, obviously, James and Charlie, which that situation blew up a few months ago when Charlie was being cancelled. And everyone was, like, mocking Trisha for, you know, calling him. And now everyone's like, oh, if this is true, then his relationship with Charlie is concerning. We're not saying it is true, but I'm saying if it's true, then the relationship with Charlie would be more concerning, if that makes sense. She also films a video where she goes over the same stuff that she said in tweets and, you know, comparing him to Sia, comparing him to the Lopez brothers, saying how he has a really young audience, which makes that much more concerning in that sense that, you know, he's already got a young fan base. And then there's like this whole situation with minors, and it's just like concerning. Oh, I forgot to add, very important point, I don't know how I forgot it. James, with the 16-year-old that just came out, that was a fan of his, and James knew because the guy told him that he was like, he loved him, he loved his videos, he was a huge fan. So it's like, at that point, if someone said to me, I'm your fan, and they also looked really young to me, I'd be like, absolutely not. I feel uncomfortable whenever someone dates a fan. I feel like it's a weird power imbalance. It's like this person idolizes you and has idolized you for a while. You haven't idolized them, you haven't known them. They know more about you than you will ever know about them. And it's just, I feel like it's just a weird dynamic. I don't know, tell me what you guys think about that. Does that make it even worse at that point? And I'm just like, I don't know, I just wouldn't be comfortable with it. Once again, just my opinion, I wouldn't be comfortable with dating a fan. Mainly if they were younger than me. I feel like it's just a lot of no on top of no. Then there were some reactions on Twitter. There are some big tweets right now, like 100,000 likes, 60,000 likes. Trisha then mentions a few valid points about how people are blaming these minors for lying about their age. She's like, first of all, if someone lies to you about their age and you go along with any activity with them, that's still illegal. Even if they lie to you, it is illegal because it's your due diligence as a grown-up, as an adult, to verify people's ages. So him actually sending naked pictures of himself and asking for pictures of them while they were underage, even if they lied, is actually illegal. And one of them is apparently pursuing legal action, as in like he's like called the police. So I don't know if it was a good move for James to admit. I mean, I don't know if he should have lied, but like, except the pictures are there, like the evidence is there, we've seen it all. So he kind of had to admit it, but him admitting it is him admitting to a crime, which is the concerning part of this whole situation. Is like, this is literally a crime. Like, you know, so like whether knowingly or unknowingly, he has technically committed a crime. So in most states, I don't know how it is in like every single state, because I'm not versed on American law across the board, but in most places that is a crime. She says how she's said this before and she was attacked, but now everyone's like, oh, I guess Trisha was right. Another thing, Tati was trending on Twitter along with James Charles. So James was trending and Tati was trending, and everyone's like, oh my god, was Tati correct all along? And now people are starting to question the last 3 years of their life and what they believed was true, because they're like, oh, if this is happening again and again and again, was Tati onto something? That's something that people are genuinely thinking right now. They're like, was Tati onto something here when she said this? And we all mocked her for it. But was she actually onto something? It's starting to get concerning, because once people start digging up the past, it's just never a good look. She mentions how he was a victim and by Tati, because she was like, Tati was your mentor. She then betrayed you. She used your like, you know, weakness against you. And now she basically compared that to him being friends with Charlie, like, you know, the age gap, even though the age gap between him and Tati was much bigger than the age gap between him and Charlie. So, you know, it's a little bit different. Keemstar tweeted out, basically just calling him a straight up, just said, you committed a crime against 2 kids. So Keemstar is very bold with his tweet right now. Tati's trending, you know, there are multiple tweets about that. So I'm wondering if Tati is ever going to speak out about this. Gabriel Zamora's kind of subtweeted about this now. And that girl Shay, who is a beauty guru who films like, she's known for these like lip and eye swatches where she takes an eyeshadow palette and she swatches each individual shade on her eyes. You know who I'm talking about. She's never in drama. But this time, I guess she like snapped and she went on Twitter and she said, first of all, why are you not verifying people's ages? Second of all, how many times does this have to happen for people to stop questioning the victims every single time? Third of all, if this was a woman, she would have been cancelled from the first time. She would not have been given a second chance, let alone third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And then she also said that your fans are not your pull for dating, and that is something I definitely agree with. The moment someone is your fan, that's it, game over. Cut it out. Cut it out. Because it's uncomfortable. It's not right. So that's something I definitely agree with when it comes to Shay. I just feel like your fans, no. If you have to question their age, too young for you, why are you not IDing them? You should be behaving. Who was it? I think it was Spill Sesh. I watched a video right before I filmed mine just to see kind of, I mean, I know what she's thinking because we already spoke about this, but I just watched a video because I like watching her videos. And she said something like, he should be checking IDs like someone working in a nightclub if they don't want to be fired. Like, 100%. Like, he should be on it every single time. ID, passport, birth certificate right now in my DMs before I proceed to talk to you. I think that would have been the responsible, mature, adult thing to do. I don't understand. I feel like I'm not even angry. I hope I'm not coming across as super aggressive. I'm so confused and baffled as to how James allowed this situation to come up again. Like, since by sister, he should have been checking, double checking and triple checking so that this situation doesn't happen again. And it just keeps on happening. Every 6 months or so, like clockwork, there is another allegation and another allegation and another allegation. It's just like, at some point, At some point, you have to start checking. I don't know what I think about this. I don't know where I swing, because it just seems like the internet is so divided right now. Like, his tweet got a lot of likes and it got a lot of support, but then there are a lot of people who are just like, no. So it's difficult to figure out what side people are on. There are many people who still stick to the story of, we accused him once falsely and we can't accuse him again. And there are the other people on the other side now questioning this and going, was this false though? If it's happened so many times, is this false? So there are definitely two camps here, and I want to know which camp you guys are in, because it's just seeming to divide the internet right now. It's like, it's Bye Sister all over again, except now it's more divided, because back then everyone was on Tati's side and then it all hopped over to James. Now people have pretty much split in half and they're like having a go at each other over it. I'm not accusing James of anything. I'm not saying any of these allegations are true, false, neutral or whatever. I'm just angry at him not doing his due diligence of checking these things so he's not in these scandals. That's what I'm angry about. I'm not accusing him of anything. I don't want that to come across that way in this video. I'm simply irritated by the fact that he wouldn't put these checks in place to make sure that he is covered, to make sure everything goes the way it should be going, smoothly and without a scandal. That's it. I'm just irritated a little bit. But you guys let me know what you think. I mean, be as brutally honest about the situation as you want to be. I want to know your absolute truth. Like, I want to know exactly what you think. Do you think he's guilty? Do you think he's innocent? Like, what do you think about this whole situation? I just want to know, because I'm so torn right now that I'm just kind of like, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to accuse anyone of anything, but at the same time, there are some things I have to criticize James on, and this is one of them. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, hit that bell, do all the things that you want to do on this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.